Welcome to this episode of the Architects of Destiny podcast, during which we will have a very special guest. Well, it's not going to be a human guest because today we'll introduce you to a beautiful galactic race that we both descend from, the Arcturians.
And the Arcturians are literally our favourite, being Arcturian starseeds. So you're going to find out an awful lot about the Arcturians today. So what kind of things are we going to be talking about?
We're going to first of all say who they are, what they look like, how to contact them, how to connect to them, how we first connected to them. You will hear what their light language sounds like. You'll learn all about their family structure, which is very different than human families. You will learn about their technology. You will learn about their consciousness technology, which really affects or can affect us humans, and in general about their role in actually the Earth's development trajectory. So tune in for this beautiful episode and meet the Arcturians.
So we'll start off by saying, who are the Arcturians? So the Arcturians are a really advanced race of fifth dimensional extraterrestrial beings. And to look at them, they're quite tall, quite slender. They have blue skin and they have Scandinavian features, very symmetrical, don't they?
Yeah, they're very, very delicate, very pretty. And by the way, there is this image or images recycled of Arcturians all around online. I don't even know where the origin of these are, which look like a Syrian with blue skin. That's not what the Arcturians look like in our experience. They don't look like some kind of like monstery extraterrestrials with bald heads. They do have hair. Their hair is usually quite fair. And by the way, we are talking here about the Arcturians, not Arcturian starseeds, because I could see Arcturian starseeds come in all different shapes and sizes, you know. He's got brown hair, got like more lighter complexion, and you know, it doesn't matter.
It's more about the frequency than the appearance, let's say, when it comes to Arcturians. And what you'll notice is that all Arcturian starseeds have this kind of childlike essence and have very silly senses of humor. So we can laugh at kind of silly things, really.
Well, we talk about Arcturian starseeds a little bit more, but when it comes to the actual Arcturians, so the ones who are not residing here on Earth, because who are Arcturian starseeds are the Arcturians who came to this planet. But when they are in their, let's say, Arcturian bodies, they have this bluish color to the skin. So it's not like Aeron's t-shirt, for those of you watching on YouTube rather than listening. It's more like lighter tint of blue. And we have been told by them that it's not actually that the skin is blue, it's more that the energy emanates from the body, right?
Correct, yes. And their frequency, because all the extraterrestrial races have different frequency signatures, and the Arcturian energetic signature is very delicate. That's how I like to describe it. And they're very, very technologically advanced. Now, I've lived more than one sort of lifetime as an Arcturian, and one of those lifetimes at least, I used to pilot Arcturian craft. And so technologically, they are streets and light years ahead of where we are as humans. And, you know, sort of each different race, including humanity, is just at different stages of development and evolution. But when you compare the different races, you know, we've got a way to go as human beings, haven't we?
So we are obviously going to tell you a little bit more in detail about Arcturian technology, but let's now just say they are very, very advanced. But where is the affinity between Arcturians and humans coming from is that they have not always been that way. So they have actually been three-dimensional beings like us with three-dimensional consciousness, but that was so long ago that it's almost like they don't even want to remember these times so much. And Arcturians in their own tongue, because we call them Arcturians, but just as a bit of a digression, all these names that we assign to extraterrestrials are a little bit inaccurate, because calling Arcturus is a star. So they don't live on the star, they live in the planetary system of the star, and they don't call themselves Arcturians. We call them Arcturians, but it's the equivalent of us being from the solar system, being called the Solarians, not even terrestrials, not even humans, but we call ourselves humans. The Arcturians call themselves Achme people in their language. I asked that question. I channeled the answer in the Arcturian light language you will hear in a second. But basically what they mean by that is the unified ones, or the ones who live in unity. It's like the ones, basically. That's the name, that's how they call themselves. And this name have been carved when they have gone through their own ascension window, where they have become unified, because for them, their collective consciousness is one of the most interesting, I would say, features of the race. So why don't we talk about the collective consciousness?
So the Arcturian Collective Consciousness is a collective consciousness field, or that all of the Arcturians are connected into. And it's no different really to the other extraterrestrial race. Every single race that exists has a collective consciousness field, including humans.
Humans more have like a collective unconscious, because the difference between us and the Arcturians is that they use their collective consciousness in a conscious manner. So it's like a resource, whereas we sometimes tap into our, what we could call collective consciousness. It's more like, if you say that we don't even realize what's in the human collective consciousness. So it's a little bit like a jungle, whilst Arcturian is like a beautiful manicured garden.
It's still a collective consciousness. Yes. However, humanity has a very kind of limited consciousness level. Yes. That's just basically what we mean. But it's every single race has, whatever stages it's at, every single race has a collective consciousness. The Arcturians is very advanced, and it's quite interesting because what they have, there are two collective consciousness layers. You have the adults, or the mature beings, but you've also got a child or an infant collective consciousness. And the way I see this within my consciousness is I see this as two bands of energy around their planet. And the one closest to their planet is the infant, is the child, and the adult collective consciousness is around the outside. So it's like almost like energy that encompasses in two layers. And the reason for this is it's set up this way is simply to protect the young, or to protect the children, because not that the Arcturians live lives like humans live. So, our experience here on Earth can be quite rough, can't it? And, there's all polarities here. It's not like that on Arcturus. However, the offspring and the children are protected. And until they come of age, they can't access the sort of adult collective consciousness, if you like. So it's almost like a watershed or toned down version that kind of just protects them and looks after them.
I suppose it's the equivalent of us not burdening children with certain maybe upsetting or difficult or more things.
We could learn a thing or three from the Arcturians, I think, couldn't we?
So whilst we're talking about Arcturian children, we're both like two Earth incarnations of Arcturian children. But let's talk about Arcturian families.
Okay.
So, because this is very interesting. This is something where we so wish we were like that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, not speaking from a personal perspective, but looking at humanity, it just kind of, we could learn so much as a species from how the Arcturians are. And basically how families are structured on Arcturus. Because some extraterrestrial races encompass both frequencies, so they're almost genderless, some of them.
Like blue avians, for example.
Blue avians, they have both. So there's masculine and feminine within the one, within the sort of body of each member of that race. Whereas the Arcturians and other races have different genders. And so there is a male, there is a female. And the reason for this is that there is a definite difference in frequency between masculine frequency and feminine frequency. Whether you're a human being, an Arcturian, Syrian, an Andromedan, it doesn't matter, but there's a balance of frequencies, right? And so how it works on Arcturus is that there's no such thing as marriage. Okay, so marriage, if you think about it, is a human construct. It's religious, typically. That's where it stemmed from, and I know things have changed now. And
I mean, there were always religious ceremonies also in antiquity.
Okay,
says the
but
Syrian.
yeah, so everything
But
has
it
to
is
be correct.
It
but
is a human institution.
Yeah, but you get the point that I'm making. So they're not going to call it marriage. They're not going to stick an engagement ring on their little blue finger and all of this kind of stuff. It's that's just the human way of doing it. But what they have is more of a union that comes together, and every single union is an energetic match, and so they scan one another's frequency to make sure it's a good fit energetically. And when it's a good fit energetically, there's synergy and there's harmony. And so you've got long-standing relationships. Once they create this union with one another, it's like swans on this planet. Once they kind of come together, you've got a pair of swans that stay together. And that's essentially how it is. And so not only are relationships and unions created consciously so that it's a good match energetically, but when they decide and elect to have offspring, it's an energetic decision. And so there are no broken families.
There's no birth control because they control with the consciousness.
Completely. So there's no broken families. There's no sort of divorces, or however you want to put it, or families breaking up, because each union is a perfect energetic match, and they consider it. Whereas if you think humans, sometimes, you can get two people that come together that just shouldn't be together. There's just an energetic mismatch. And so there might be an initial attraction on how sort of the other party looks, but actually when you break it down to a frequency perspective, it's a complete mismatch, and that ends up falling apart. And so I think essentially the way the Arcturians have got it right is the fact that they focus on the frequency, and it needs to be an energetic match. And as soon as it's an energetic match, there's synergy, you've got long-term harmony and union. So it's a little bit different to how we do it here on Earth, but I would say much, much better. And I think that we can learn from this race for sure.
But just to be clear, those energetic unions are when Arcturians get really serious, when they want to create a family, when they want to have consciously offspring, because again, the procreation is conscious. So, they can have sex for fun, but then when they actually want to have babies, then it's a conscious decision. However, young Arcturians, before they settle into this kind of, serious union for life, they do have fun. They do have explorations. They have equivalent of dating, sleeping around, all
quite
of that.
Promiscuous.
They're
really.
quite, yeah.
But there's no,
there's no judgment.
Yeah, there's no judgment. It's kind of accepted within their society if that's what they want, because it's only surface level kind of fun, and there's no. Like I say, they're not going to come together, or
and they're not going to have babies.
Not going to try and have offspring. So that only ever comes where there's this energetic union on both sides. And so there's a freedom and a liberation in that energy that they have. And so the way it's kind of structured is kind of completely different. There's similar constructs in that sort of the family unit and stuff, but the foundations of it are different. And I think in a way better.
But it's almost like they get the best of both worlds, of this world of freedom, fun, etc. Do whatever you want. And then, maybe at some point they feel its time has come to actually contribute to that collective consciousness. That
happens more often than not. I mean, when I connect to the collective consciousness, I often connect to the Arcturian Council of Elders. And, I've trained with them, I've worked with them, they've upgraded me, and they've shared their teachings and stuff with me, which is fantastic. But when I look at their society, there's not many. I don't see many sort of single older energies. I see lots of every entity seems to be in a union with another. So it's far more common than not. So it's quite interesting to look at.
Super interesting. So you mentioned the Arcturian Council of Elders. So why don't we talk now about the Arcturian Council of Elders? So Arcturian Council of Elders, they are the leadership of the Arcturians, but they are not like royalty, they elected leadership, and it changes. So very often people channel Arcturian Council of Elders, you'll see some channels. It's not going to be the same set energy, as in the energy of the Arcturian Collective Consciousness is different to the Arcturian Council of Elders, but within that Council of Elders, there will be different members throughout the years. But maybe you can talk a bit more about it because you channel them more often than I do.
Well, I connected to them for the first time, and this was way back.
2020?
Something like that. And I remember I connected to them, and I just got this download. I'd never even heard of a council or a council of elders. And instantly I was like, okay, who are these? And just instantly just knew Council of Elders. Of wow. And I've heard people since then speak of these councils that they channel, but at that stage I hadn't. I'd never heard anybody speak about it. I hadn't really followed any channels or anything like this, or people who could channel. And so I'd never really heard people speak about councils and things. But just in that moment, I was like, oh, wow, this is the Council of Elders. And I could see there was energies at that time. There were 5 of them. And I could see them, they were more, and they felt like more mature energies when I connected to them. And I could see them with sort of necklaces, sort of suits on, and they just felt like really mature. Since the first time I connected to them, my father, back on Arcturus, he has replaced one of the council, Arcturian Council of Elders. He's become one of the Council of Elders. And he was put forward basically and nominated for that role. And I think what happened, one of the energies of the council crossed over and passed over, created a space. And then within the council, it's kind of decided amongst the council, you know, who they will have their eye on various Arcturians for various reasons. And my Arcturian father was nominated, and he's now a member of the council. So really fascinating. And what they do, it's almost to bring, because they're a mature energy, it's almost to bring like an innate wisdom to the sort of collective. Now, it's not to rule the collective, because the Arcturians, they live in this very sort of balanced society, and they are an ascended race, don't forget. So they're living in 5D. So they've gone through what we're about to go through. So humanity is about to go through this ascension curve. The planet is about to ascend. We're about to step into or many of us are already in 5D consciousness, but the collective is now about to move into this 5D consciousness, which is this new operating system of unconditional love and respect for everything. They've moved into that a long time ago. So they're already operating in 5D from a consciousness perspective. And like I say, it's like an operating system that they've got. So it's not that the Arcturian collective make bad decisions, but it's always good to have that sort of secondary layer of wisdom. And this is what the role of the Council of Elders. These are wise and old sort of energies that have wisdom around the collective. And the Arcturians are not only the only race, that have got these councils. They seem to be kind of prevalent throughout, throughout the different extraterrestrial races. There always seems to be some kind. I know there's a Syrian council, for instance.
There is also the Pleiadian Circle of Light.
Yeah, exactly.
And then Lyra and Felines got hierarchy.
Wasn't there Andromedans as well?
Andromedans, you actually...
Regional, weren't they?
Yeah, Andromedans have regional councils. By the way, all the information we're giving you here is all from first-hand contact and experience. I haven't read it anywhere. We haven't we're not recycling from anybody else's perspective. And the thing is, sometimes when we channel, we don't even remember what we channeled. Yeah. So I remember what Aeron channeled when I listen, and vice versa. But yeah.
So if you want to get all of the juicy information on all of the races straight from source, don't forget to subscribe.
Yes.
Ding to the bell, wherever the bell is on here.
Yes.
So come here for the information. It's come straight from source for both of us. So
back to the Council of Elders and Arcturian Collective, and also let's talk a little bit about connecting to the Arcturians, because this is all kind of on the same subject. So how we teach people to connect to those extraterrestrial races is through knowing the energetic signature. It's almost like when you know a race's energetic signature in the quantum field, it's like knowing the postcode to get, or the GPS location to get to the destination. And once you have tasted this frequency, it's easy to almost like latch onto it and know where you go. It's like when you visited a place once, you will much easier go back there because you've already been there. So what is important here to say is that there is a slight difference in frequency if you're very sensitive, because if you're not sensitive, it will be difficult for you to even distinguish between Arcturian and Pleiadian. But if you are sensitive, you know the Arcturian frequency, you will feel a distinct difference between what it feels like when you're connecting to the Arcturian Collective Consciousness and what it feels like when you're connecting to the Arcturian Council of Elders. There's certain like a gravitas, there's this kind of like weight of wisdom, I would say. And it's almost like the frequency of the Arcturian Council of Elders is like more refined. I mean, in general, Arcturian frequency is quite refined. It's easy to connect to, but it is quite delicate, it is quite gentle. It's not like, for example, Syrian frequency is super easy to connect for beginners. It's like heavy, it's like a ton of bricks, it's easy to latch onto with your consciousness. Arcturian frequency is much more refined.
So I think let's just choose our language carefully. Heavy and like a ton of bricks sounds a bit scary, doesn't it?
No, it's like a comfort blanket.
Like a thick, heavy, grounding comfort blanket. So think of all the different energetic signatures. If you want a nice analogy to help you understand what we mean by that, is just think of it like different accents. And you can recognize different accents and know where that person's from. So if you're from the UK, you will know that all over the UK, there's like a gazillion different accents. So if you heard somebody with a Scottish accent, you would recognize and go, they're from Scotland. Or if you heard somebody from Liverpool, you'd go, okay, they're from Liverpool. If you heard somebody from South Wales, you'd hear that. Birmingham, Newcastle, you catch the drift. It's all language, so it's all energy. So when you talk about these different races, when they're different energetic signatures, are like different accents of energy, and you get to recognize who they are, so you know what you're tuning into.
But let's say if you're not a Brit, then you would never know whether someone is from Birmingham or from...
However, if somebody was American, you'd know they were American. If somebody had a British accent, you'd know that. If somebody was from Australia, you'd recognize that, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
So you can extrapolate it out around the world if you want to.
With more kind of knowledge, it's the same with the galactic races, comes a lot more kind of recognition. So when I talk about the Arcturian Council of Elders, it's like knowing that someone, and Arcturians in general, is like the difference between knowing that someone is from Scotland and knowing that someone is from Glasgow.
Yes. Or Edinburgh and Glasgow.
Yeah.
They're both from Scotland, but there's a difference.
I couldn't tell the difference, but you could.
Oh, hi there, no!
Oh.
Sorry, I'm joking. That's my Arcturian sense of humour. I'm so sorry.
It almost sounds like
Arcturian
language.
I'm sorry to anybody from Glasgow. That was supposed to be Glasgow. I do apologise. I'm awful, aren't I? So
that was a bad Arcturian joke.
That was a terrible joke.
And it almost sounded like Arcturian light language, so why don't we talk about it?
No, I'm not doing it. You can do it.
I can do Arcturian light language, yeah. I mean, we both speak Arcturian light language as Arcturian starseeds, but Arcturian light language is actually a very, very good way to latch onto Arcturian frequency, because every light language, whether it's Lyran, Pleiadian, and I speak a whole bunch of them, carries that energetic signature that we talk about. And it's probably one of the only tangible things in this 3D reality that can convey this frequency. When we're doing energetic transmission, which sometimes people feel it in their body, people feel it in their consciousness, and that is obviously where it's headed. But if you are new to it, then light language is almost like this is a solid thing to latch onto. And you will hear different light languages, and there is a difference. They sound different, they feel different, the energetic signature is different. So I give you a little Arcturian transmission in Arcturian light language. We'll see if there's any message that wants to come across, and you will at least know what this frequency that we talk about actually sounds like when conveyed in the form of sound. My Arcturian language is pure Arcturian. Aeron, I would say maybe if you can give them a little bit later on, because yours is like
a blend of three. Mine's a blend of Arcturian, Dragon, and Alpha Centauri. So it sounds really strange.
So let me do the Arcturian light language, and I'm asking that as I'm channeling this light language, if there's any message, any frequency that wants to come to the listeners and people who are watching it, that it comes through and that the translation is provided for me at the end. تؤمحيا هلا هرحيا صح شكر ميا خطرة حسيا هشتروهيا ملهتيا هويتيا هتيا شورة ميها تودهيا محلا مرحتيا تحسوهتيا هشتروهيا هرحيا هساريا شو إيا مهريا تحسيا ترحا سروهوريا هشمريا هسا إيا كوروهيا ساريا تشوهوريا هساريكيا حلمريا تشدرهيا هسارميا هساتيكيا خطريا سو Ea haremia hashurutia halahedea harea hasera orusturo harahia haramachas. So that was the Arcturian light language, and there was actually no message in it, but there was frequency in it.
Just frequency.
Yeah, but there was a very specific frequency in it, and the frequency encoded in this light language, it's a gift to you guys, because what I've been shown as I was speaking this language, it's almost like there is, I would say, like threads. I could see like threads coming from us to their dimension. And if you want to listen to it again, whilst trying to connect to the Arcturians, these threads will be what will be lifting you up to that dimension. It's almost like being lifted on some kind of like lines, etc. So that was what was in that Arcturian. So are you okay to do a bit of your light language just to see?
You're putting me on the spot now, aren't you? She likes to do that. So if she'd asked me beforehand, then I would say no. Now we're recording. It's like, can you do something for the audience? Okay. So I'll do 10 seconds of it.
I'll do about 20.
No, well, okay. I'll do a little bit of it. I don't often showcase this, and it's a mixture of Arcturian, it's a mixture of dragon, and it's a mixture of Alpha Centauri. That's a mouthful, isn't it? Again, there'll be energy transmitted through it. Again, enjoy. I never normally do this. Thanks for putting me on the spot like this. Yeah. She knew what she was doing. She had it planned all along.
No, I didn't. It's spontaneous. I'm Arcturian.
I didn't.
I'm not a calculator.
I didn't. Yeah. Okay, anyway. Okay. Alamachaf estelach shlem, alelach festelamacha, lefestel shlem eich, vistash. Ufach slema leshef, selemich festasha. Kalamacha efrachst amach estasha eich. Malay elach malay elach ist amara fastash kama elamachste kama elach fastash kama alaf ist alamach fastash.
The dragon is very strong with you today.
Very strong today, dragon.
Yeah, so if you hear this, if your light language sounds like that, it sounds quite scary. Because almost like
it's not though. It sounds scarier than it is.
Yeah, but that's the dragon language. We do a separate one about dragons. We do a separate episode just about dragons. But yeah, that's that harshness. That's what the fire comes out.
Yeah.
But yeah, Arcturian light language, you may have noticed, sounds a little bit like Arabic, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Sounds similar, doesn't it?
It's got that kind of frequency. So I think we have done this funny experiment a few times, like going through like Doha airport speaking Arcturian, thinking like that's an Arcturian joke, seeing if people think that it's maybe some dialect.
It does sound like Arabic. It probably, to somebody who actually speaks Arabic, totally sorry, but it's kind of like, it does. To the untrained ear, it does sound similar, but obviously to you folks who can speak it, you probably think, oh, that's a load of gobbledygook, it doesn't sound like Arabic. But like I say, if you've got an untrained ear, uncultured ear, maybe it does, I don't know.
Yeah, but moving on to the practicalities. Why would you need to connect to Arcturians? Why would you want to connect to the Arcturians? Why would you want to connect to the light language? Well, because it carries frequency. And Arcturians, what we talked about, the collective consciousness, the light language, what is really special about it is that it can contain upgrades that you can download and that can literally rewire every area of your life, like abundance, relationships, inner healing. People call it codes, people call it frequencies, codexes. We use it all of the time in the work with our clients. And this actually changed our life for the better, since connecting to the Arcturians was the first thing in our spiritual awakening journey that really started having a profound effect on just feeling happier, basically, in this third dimension. Because if you're a starseed, then sometimes that 3D feels a bit harsh. You feel like you're not home. Well, all these different races have frequencies that are almost like our equipment to help us here navigate that 3D in a much smoother and much easier way. And Arcturian Collective Consciousness is almost like a library, not just of their wisdom, knowledge, and history, but also of these frequencies that we can download and channel in order to uplift, rewire, reprogram any area of our life from inside out. It works directly in our energy field. even beyond our conscious and subconscious mind, and we start emitting different frequency and then creating different outcomes in our lives.
So, you want me to extrapolate on?
Well, maybe give people an example of how we work with Arcturian frequency. Maybe codes of bit of medicine.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So, there's many different ways at which you can utilize Arcturian frequency. Arcturian frequency's got some of the most delicate frequency around, and it's got therefore some of the most delicate consciousness technology. So the Arcturian consciousness technology codes of message resonance, for instance. So if you're looking for people to resonate with your message, if you're a creator online or you're creating content, or perhaps you've got a message, or perhaps you even want to give a speech, if you're giving a sort of keynote speech or writing a book, fantastic frequency, and people will resonate with the frequency. So there's that. There's Arcturian codes of self-love. And there's also, these are
our favorites.
Our favorites.
Firm favorites that we use all of the time.
The Arcturian codes of bitter medicine. Now, what this is healing frequency and
emotional healing.
Yeah, there's not many people that can do this modality, and but some of you perhaps who've been in our audience for a bit will be aware of it. Perhaps some of you have even been on the receiving end of some of these, so you know how effective these healing frequencies are. And essentially what it does, it comes from the collective consciousness, it's programmed specifically for a person. The frequency comes into the body, and what it does, it enters the organs and it starts to sort of stir up any pain and trauma frequency stored within the organs of the body. Because that's where we store all pain and traumas, physically and somatically in the body, in the organs. And so what this frequency does, it comes in and it just starts to agitate all of this sort of stuck frequency in the organs, and then that allows a person to process some stuff from deep in the past and go through what we call a purge. So it's the equivalent of going through ayahuasca without having the bucket and running to the toilet, and without kind of hallucinating and going crazy for hours. You can kind of do this in a conscious awakened state, but the effect is the same. It's like an intense version of ayahuasca using galactic frequency. It's amazing.
Yeah. It's just, instead of having physical symptoms, you have emotional symptoms. Yeah. So we have taken those codes of bitter medicines umpteen times, and also what happens to us when we channel, even when we shield ourselves with intention, when we do a lot of sessions in the week,
sometimes you get affected by it.
Yeah, you get a taste of your own medicine.
And then you've got a bit of a purge coming up.
And when you say a purge, it's like an emotional release. You feel like...
Usually it's all stuff from the past, like stuff that you...
Random memories from 20 years ago. But they better out than in. So once these things come up, it just leaves.
Yeah,
100%. And then you can start applying more pleasant codes, such as codes of abundance, codes of like love and relationships to smooth your frequency over. Codes of synchronicity is another one we love. And this is fantastic for manifesting. It smooths out any kinks in your frequency, because let's be honest, most of us, if we haven't done an extensive ancestral, karmic and inner child healing journey, we would have distorted frequency somewhere now, I feel. Codes of synchronicity smooth this frequency out. So if we're sending it out to the universe, these kind of distorted programs don't interrupt the outcome. They don't call in for the outcome. They are kind of being smoothed over, and we start to attract right situations, right people,
doors opening at the right time,
opportunities.
It's like when you're emanating the codes of synchronicities, it's almost like, have you ever tried to do anything and you've got a goal or something that you're working towards, and it's like wading through treacle, and it's just hurdle after hurdle, problem after problem, it's just sticking. Doesn't matter how hard you're trying, the universe is just pushing back against you. And like, we've all been there, where we're trying to achieve something, and it's literally like pulling teeth. It's really frustrating, and can be exhausting if it happens over time. But what the codes of synchronicity do, it almost like reverses that flow. So it's like you step into the flow of the universe. So no matter what you're trying to achieve, it's like the universe has your back, pushing you along. So, you will take aligned action, but just stuff starts to come off. Clients will turn up, opportunities will fall into your lap. You'll be in the right place at the right time. You'll bump into somebody somewhere. Somebody will introduce you to say, you should meet such and such, and they've got what they can introduce you to. and life just becomes that much easier in moving along. It's one of my favorite set of consciousness technology codes, and the codes of synchronicity are amazing.
Hopefully this is enough encouragement for you to start connecting to the Arcturians. So now maybe let's explain how to do it. So as channeled before with the Arcturian light language, you can use this frequency to springboard, because it's important to actually connect to the frequency. Is when we are dealing with things like am I Arcturian starseed, how to connect to Arcturians, how to connect to any galactic beings, it's a matter of frequency. It's not a matter of what you look like. It's not a matter of, there is this really dangerous trend where people think that starseed characteristics has to do with our physicality. This is, this is completely wrong. It's almost like kind of feels racist and eugenics. And I remember when in 2020 you were writing and you were channeling Arcturians, and someone said, "Oh, you can't be Arcturian because your forehead is too small."
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there was something along these lines. It's nothing to do with that. We are operating here in frequency. We have worked and met Arcturian people from all different nations, all different continents, all different skin colors, all different sizes and shapes and ages.
When you've worked with so many races, galactic races, you just get to know their energy. And so when I meet another human being, I can kind of feel where they're from. I can feel their energy. It's the same for you when, let's say, for instance, if you listen to light language, isn't it? You can decipher that instantly. It's like, even if it doesn't sound instantly, like it's okay, it's going to be 30% this, 20% this, 15%, and you can you just know, right? And that just comes from experience.
So first of all, if you are thinking, or if you want to connect deeper with any galactic race, think like Tesla said, in terms of frequency, energy, and vibration. Don't think in terms of size of forehead, starseed origins,
color of hair,
lists of characteristics in some online kind of thing, which by the way get recycled and never come. You connect straight. First of all, that's it. Secondly, you don't have to be some special chosen person in a channel, appointed, anointed, and blessed. You can connect. You don't have to call yourself contactee. You don't have to wait for them to tap you on the shoulder.
No.
I mean, it happened to us, but it was almost like we were ready. So we were kind of like reaching out. I was putting that frequency. I want to meet my spirit guides. And that's when they first contacted me. So this is all you need to do, is you need to be ready. It's like, yeah, I want to. I don't need to wait for a special invitation. And by the way, no matter whether you are an Arcturian starseed or any other starseed, Arcturians are one of these galactic races that are very welcoming to all connections. Everyone. Not every race is like that. Some races are almost like they open only to their own starseeds, but not so much to other people.
Others are just indifferent, aren't they?
Some of them are indifferent. Arcturians are cheering us on this ascension journey. So I can tell that as an ambassador to the Arcturian Collective, they will love connecting with you. They will be helpful no matter whether you've been an Arcturian or haven't been an Arcturian. Go ahead and connect. So it's about that. So number one, energy, frequency, vibration. Number two is actually believing that you don't need a special invitation, and you are invited already. If you need a special invitation, I'm sure they don't gonna mind. I'm gonna make that.
Email me and I'll send you one. If you need an invitation, I'll email you one.
Or take my words as that invitation here. So that's that. Number three is actually having skills to do it, because you need to elevate your consciousness. And sometimes when we say elevate your consciousness, it just can sound a bit like, out there. But it's all about being able to almost like shift your point of attention from what's going on in 3D, what's for dinner, I need to pee, I'm hungry, have I forgotten about this and that kind of stuff. Being able to quieten this, put it to one side for time being as you connecting. Number one. Number two is when those things come through, don't expect that there will be like some fanfare, an angel with a kind of stuff. It will just sound like your thoughts. And when you channel, it sounds like your thoughts. You can have imagery. Aeron's got imagery. I don't. and it doesn't matter. You can still hear them, you can still feel them, you may be able to feel some frequency. Open all of your spiritual senses. If you have never done it and you are a little bit afraid, am I going to connect to the Arcturians or not? We have got a free activation, which is called My Soul Family Activation. We're going to link up to it so that you can use it. It sends like a call out. It's actually Arcturian frequency. You've done it with Arcturian frequency.
Yeah.
And it's free and you can try to do it. If you want to have some proper training in connecting to all of these galactic races, we invite you on board of the Quantum Club. We've got weekly classes where we teach this kind of stuff. If you're curious, it's always easier in a group. We create like a consciousness vortex and amplifier, and it's going to be easy. And it's not just weekly classes, but also you have a vault, a library of about
over 120 sessions now, which represents about 180 hours of recorded content. All of it's been indexed and all of it is on demand for you. Now,
so you can binge on Arcturians.
If you want to, you can, if you're sick of Netflix and the others, then other streaming channels are available. Basically, come and have a go at that. And we've been going now within the Quantum Club for over 2.5 years. We've now got a thriving community of Jedis, Padwans, Lightworkers, and Starseeds. And we say that Thursdays are the best day of the week because Thursday is Quantum Club Day. And every single week we appear live in there. So it's fantastic value. So go on, do be or not go and check it out. Couldn't get my words out then. Go and check it out. It's fantastic.
I think this whole recording is actually infused with this Arcturian frequency because I feel like really exhilarated. We're just kind of fooling about a little bit here, but all this information is, provided from first-hand experience. I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit about who Arcturians are, what they like. Of course, there is so much more. We could sit here till the cows come home and talk about Arcturians. So I have a suggestion. If you want to ask your question about Arcturians, if you have any experience with Arcturians, drop your comment below. We'll pick up on those comments and perhaps we do Arcturians part 2. Alternatively, if you want us to bring other galactic races next to this new series,
let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
And you ask and we will deliver. That's what we're all about. We're all about giving you guys what you want and you wonderful folks. So thanks so much. I hope you've enjoyed and you've got some insights about the Arcturians here on this recording. And we're sending you love unconditionally today, wherever you are. Thanks so much for tuning into it. And don't forget, put your suggestions below. Let us know what you want to hear. What races do you want to hear about? We've connected to loads of them. We can share that with you. And thanks so much. Hope you enjoyed it. Take care of yourselves and we will see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Architects of Destiny podcast. Be sure to subscribe and we will see you on the next episode.